Hi, class. So today is September 24th, and we're in Module 3, which is on the local context for food and agriculture, where we're focusing on Canada, and then we're going to be narrowing down to the Edmonton focus, and today we'll also narrow right down to the University of Alberta campus focus. And the purpose is to kind of present the story and the facts, but also analysis of the kind of policy context and solutions of the problems. And drawing upon the policy framing debate to some extent. So I'm going to share my screen with you. There's going to be 4 mini lectures today in the course of the day. And try to break them into kind of particular chunks. We're going to look at food insecurity at the University of Alberta first. So we really following along from the end of the last lecture where we looked at determinants of food insecurity in Canada. So this is at the UofA. We're going to kind of back out and switch to that policy focus that we also had in the last lecture, considering how food insecurity is a multi-scale problem. We have now a food policy for Canada without much teeth, and part of it is this multi-scale nature of the problem and the solutions. I'm going to cover the McIntyre paper that I've posted to eClass of what makes household food insecurity an intractable policy problem in Canada, and kind of how they use framing analysis in that. After that, the 2 more mini lectures are going to be about food deserts, one in the concept of food deserts and their analysis in the US context. And then secondly, some work we've done or I've been associated with evaluating food deserts here in Edmonton, and my colleagues have done for Calgary. So the next week we'll focus more on local food per se, and the initiatives and debates around that. So first, food insecurity at the University of Alberta. 2 years ago when I gave this, the author made a presentation in class, and she's still around and very active in issues around the campus food. She's part of the campus food discussion group and does some work with the Office of Sustainability. So her work she did as a master's nutrition student at the University of Alberta. And you can see the reference there for this work. So this was considering, so what's the food security story and situation for users of the campus food bank? So this will be of particular interest to those of you who are doing volunteer work with the campus food bank, to kind of understand that you're the clients of the food bank. She did a convenient sample. So she went to the food bank, and when people gave permission, she approached them and asked if they would be interested in completing a questionnaire. And then asked those people to recommend others who they might talk to, their friends or colleagues who also were food bank users. So they interviewed they started with a total of 65 people. With that, they had some who, these external pilots. So these were people that they started with to kind of make sure that the questionnaire was right. They did not include those people in the analysis. One person withdrew, so they were left with a sample of 58 people. The sample included 60% women. About half the sample were graduate students, so people studying for a master's or a PhD at the UofA. About half were international, so from outside of Canada, and about a quarter had kids living with them at that time, which is much higher than the average of the 50,000 students at the university. So this is in a sense the characteristics of food bank users. So, and these were this is a busy slide, but it gives you the overview of all of her results. So first of all, she asked the same questions as are on the food insecurity experience scale, and using that then classified people as being either food secure or moderately food insecure or severely food insecure. And you can see that of those food bank users, only 10% of whom would classify themselves as food secure, and the other were half and half, moderate and severe food insecurity. So I think that prevalence of severe food insecurity is quite alarming for a university campus. People who, that 25%, so that 45% of people, the 26 respondents who indicated that they were food insecure, said that they had experienced poor health as a result of food insecurity. They reported poor mental health, both physical health, mental health, and they reported lower fruit, vegetable, and legume intake as a result of being food insecure. The consequences of that for their academics were most of them indicating that they couldn't concentrate in class or during an exam, many of them being able to study for an exam, and some of them unable to complete an assignment. They were coping with this in a variety of ways, their food insecurity challenge, by applying for a loan or bursary, delaying the purchase of university supplies, purchasing food with a credit card, or had worked more hours to make their way. So the bottom line then in terms of the conclusions is that food insecurity may jeopardize students' health. You can see the different ways, both physical and mental health, the quality of the diet that they're consuming, so that's really their long-term health, but also their academic performance. If people are not able to concentrate or they're not able to buy supplies. Students who were using campus food bank still felt food insecure despite using the food bank and despite these other coping mechanisms that they have, and that about 20% of them said that they relied heavily on the campus food bank. So certainly a smaller minority of all students who rely on the campus food bank, but those who do are really quite reliant upon it. So I'll close my first mini lecture with that and let that sink in for you now. So I'll stop sharing and then stop recording.